Due to the arrival of Hurricane Tamaz, which is expected to hit the Turks and Caicos Islands by midnight, the Red Cross and the Salvation Army are doing everything they can to ensure that persons are safe throughout the hurricane, as well as after. News 4 caught up with the director of the Turks and Caicos Red Cross, who gave her comments on the Hurricane Tamaz and informed the public about the shelters provided and advised persons on how to prepare and survive through the hurricane.
I mean, right now it's advisable for everyone to do what they're doing, which to continue to monitor. It's pulled up on the Provo side, so we feel that Providenciales, Middle and North right now could suffer some of the most rains that will fall. With this storm, we're very concerned with the flooding that's going to happen, and people will have to make provisions within their own homes to ensure their properties are safe. But also we're really encouraging the public, if you live in low-lying areas and you know that your properties are prone to flooding, to get out before the rains come in, go to the local shelters, your churches, whatever you're more comfortable with. There's 3 official shelters opening in Providenciales, Osita Jolly, Enid Capron and Precious Treasures. The disaster office manage these, so any questions should go directly to the disaster office at 946-4521, and they will be given messaging out also as we get closer. We would also advise people to ensure they're able to sustain themselves for minimum 3 days. So they need to ensure they have their medications, they have their food and they have their drinking water. With flooding like this, we may see some of the water systems get contaminated. If you think your water has been affected, ensure before using that you boil it to avoid any sort of illnesses afterwards. And also put your valuable documents in your plastic containers and ensure you can get them if needs be. We also want a clear message to go out to people. Once the storm comes in, you know, the services here, the emergency services, will not be able to get to your particular home to help you out. So you need to ensure, if you know you're going to flood, that you can get to a safe place prior to the storm coming in.
News 4 also spoke to Matthew Traylor, captain of the Turks and Caicos Salvation Army, who told us what the Salvation Army is doing locally in regards to persons that will need assistance after the hurricane.
First of all, we work through the disaster office, but also we have contacts with people, with particularly those in the elderly community, people like Miss Marianne, who has her finger on the pulse of those people. We try to help her out, and when she comes to us and says, hey, we have these elderly I know are in need, and we rely on people like her. And last week we were just visiting a lot of those elderly in their homes. We actually went and visited them and talked with them and saw their needs. And so now that we have faces with names as well, we know that and particularly a lot of them are most vulnerable. Even when there's not a hurricane, I've seen their homes, and I know that it may, their homes are vulnerable to damage, and so we want to be there after Tomás makes landfall, and as Tomás leaves, we can be there to help provide as much support as we can with the resources that we have.
Traylor also mentioned some of the supplies which they will have to provide for persons in need after the hurricane.
We have tarpaulin, rolls of tarpaulin. We have MREs, which are meals ready to eat. We have water, and we have cleanup kits. We have limited supply, so our goal is to make sure that if there are people who need it, they're the elderly and disabled, the most vulnerable. First, we want to make sure able to get their needs met. But that's how we're ready to respond to any potential disaster here in the Turks and Caicos.
We ask that you take these precautions seriously to ensure your safety throughout the storm. For WIV4 News, I'm Artavia Bassett.